Yo, what is going on, my dudes? Welcome to another RuneScape news coverage video. For this video, we're going to be talking about the drop table changes once again when the mining and smithing rework launches later this year. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the video. Let's go. Alright guys, this stuff is still subject to playtests and feedback as well, so it may change, but we do have some major changes to the drop tables that are different from my previous video. But I do encourage you guys, if you haven't watched that previous video, do watch it because nothing has actually changed in the fundamentals of it, but there are some pretty big changes that I think some of you are going to like. So first up, salvage now drops in 5 different sizes that will better match the existing alch values. And then the dragon scales have been renamed to stone spirits, but however they will function pretty much the same as previously. So actually let's take a look at the salvage real quick. Again, if you've already watched the previous video, you understand what salvage is, but let's get into the changes since that video. So there are going to be 5 sizes of salvage: tiny, small, medium, large, and huge. Larger salvage will obviously alch for more and contains more components when disassembled. The increases work as a multiplier, with huge salvage alching for up to 5 times more gold than tiny salvage. This is actually the graph right here. You can see the different sizes based on the different types of salvage and the multipliers applied to each. So what it looks like at face value is the size of the salvage corresponds with the amount of bars needed to make that item. For example, like a hatchet only requires 1 bar, so you'd get something like tiny salvage, whereas a plate body would require 5 bars, so you'd get a huge salvage as a drop. And obviously that would be 5 times more than the tiny, seeing as, you know, that's just how this multiplier system works. Let me know what you guys think about it. But yeah, once again, here are the different metals. This is the different ones. It goes all the way up to rune. And I've said in the previous video that they can add more, like orichalcum and higher if they see fit. But those are the alch values for the different ones. So for example, tiny rune will alch for 8k, but something like huge rune will alch for 40k. So that actually makes it so you get more money for certain items. For example, a rune plate body, you get a slightly more cash because it'll be 40k as a high alch instead of previous like 39k, whatever it is. So that's actually interesting. I do like this new way. It's basically, they're not changing much of the core mechanics of the drop tables themselves. They're pretty much going to function identical to the way they do now. However, instead of getting like a sword or a plate body or whatever, you just get tiny, large, medium, whatever the case may be, salvage. I don't know. Let me know if you guys think that this is a good way to do it. Honestly, I don't think it's virtually going to change much about the PVM drop tables at all, at least for this regard. Seems like I said, it's going to function pretty much identical. Just the items are different. They're no longer equipable or anything like that, but that's a non-issue from my point of view. No one even really wears or uses the armors that they get from drop tables like this. It's always going to alchs or disassembles, so I don't see the problem here at all. Especially considering when earlier this year, or was it last year, I forget, where they added a lot of these lower tier items like 50 and below to many of the shops, so anybody like Iron Man could easily get their hands on these items from any of the various different NPC shops. So that is a non-issue in that regard. Let me know what you guys think about this new tiny to huge size of salvage. Do you still dislike salvage, those previously in my video before about it? Are you still disliking the idea, or does this ease up the blow that it initially had? Let me know. However, I want to briefly talk about the dragon scales becoming stone spirits. Now, they're obviously going to work identical to how I talked about in the previous video, except they're just repurposing what they are and I guess their backstory or their lore. So I'll talk about that real quick. Just know that, like I said, they are going to function identical to how I talked about in my previous video. But basically, it says metal ores and bars are going to be removed from drop tables or replaced with a new item, bottled stone spirits. Now, stone spirits are strange wisp-like creatures thought to originate in the spirit realm. Each stone spirit has an affinity to a specific rock, not all of them naturally occurring. Stone spirits, which are attuned to using mining ores, are particularly valued, and many different creatures capture them and bottle them for future use. Now, when a stone spirit is unbottled, if there's a nearby rock of that type it's attuned to, it immediately bonds to the rock and creates a concentration of ore in the rock. The amount is only small, but enough to roughly double the yield. Each spirit only produces a single piece of ore, so large numbers of them need to be carried by miners if they want continual double yields. Stone spirits are often found in proximity to metallic dragons and seem to somehow feed on the strange nature of the creatures. So yeah, they just changed the name and the backstory of this item, but it's still going to work the same. There are tradable items that when you're in your inventory, they give you double ore when you're mining the specific ore that it is attuned to. Bear in mind, you're not going to get any new XP for it. It's just an extra ore. So let me know what you think about that change. I think a lot of people just didn't like the fact that they were dragon scales. I don't know if you don't like the mechanic in general. Let me know down below. But also let me know what you think about this new stone spirit route that they're trying to take. Anyways, that is the updated changes on the drop tables. I'll have a link to this design doc down below. Again, it is subject to change and it's not finalized, so if you really don't like it or you want to give more feedback, please do so. Links are in that design document of who to contact, and that'll wrap it up for the video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you are not subscribed yet and you want to stay up to date on all things RuneScape related, then hit that subscribe button. Anyways, I appreciate you watching. I am out. Peace.